Hello, it's me, LH Music. And guess what? This is my final closing time factor video covering thoughts. And guess what? Did you know that two stories that you make you flip your lid to? Well, guess what? Dissertation. Charges the Bergdahl could face in prison after leaving this post. Oh, because the dissertation charge has no clue whatsoever. So this is gonna be obvious for your information. So you just have to wait and see about that. As always, okay, so I'll find out tomorrow on my final closing time factor video coverage thoughts. We're gonna do this live at Grace University. So it'll be good. So trust me about that. But I want to bring your attention to these Taliban vibes, and it could be airstrip, Taliban 5 and all that stuff. So it could be outrageous. And
there's 5 Taliban
partners, and
they're house arrest.
Everybody's been in house arrest. Don't think we all do.
And I thank you. Months after Bergdahl was released by the Taliban, several of his platoon mates right here on this show to explain how they felt
about this. About this. Remember this? Listen to this.
It's a spit right in everybody's faces, and it is frustrating.
He is a deserter, though. He left his fellow soldiers, leadership, and his country behind when he left, leaving all his gear on the OP with us, just out to seek the Taliban.
The Army needs to do what's right.
Wow. Now, how does it feel? So, we better find out what it is on my final closing time factor video coverage thoughts, and it starts right now before it does. So, if you don't mind, kick the theme music, shall we? Let's do it.
We all want to belong. We all want to be heard. We all want to be free. Want to feel safe. Oh, want to go. Oh, we want to stay.
Somebody's gotta say it. That's why LH Music and Inside Your Video Set. That's why the real conservator lives here. This is the final closing time factor video coverage thoughts. Oh yeah, we're here for the only final closing time factor video coverage thoughts, and I want to get inside this one because
Quantify
being charged.
Number of soldiers and Marines that didn't have the things they needed. Helicopters, Predator drones, resupplies, because they were all diverted to search for Bergdahl for a period of several months in 2009. But people died as many as 6, maybe more, and many of them. That's a fact, right?
Right.
That is a fact. In fact, I testified next to the father of the one lieutenant who died last June. Okay, and everybody I interviewed, and I met with many of his platoon mates, and they all said the same thing. They knew from the very moment he was gone what had happened here. So then there raises the question about the judgment of the president and his team in releasing 5 get-no terrorists, high-ranking terrorists, in exchange for a deserter who put his entire platoon at risk. Did they pay any attention to any of the people that actually knew what happens? Well, Sean, I can't explain the administration's decision on this, but I certainly question it.
Clearly they did.
Yeah, really, they
clearly
do.
They didn't, but we knew at the time that he was under investigation. We knew he deserted, and then there was a follow-on investigation for that desertion. The only reason it wasn't completed was that you have to investigate the soldier, you have to interview the soldier himself, and obviously that couldn't be done, and was done this past fall. So, I mean, the facts were out there, and we all knew on the ground that he had deserted. General Tata, let me ask you, because I think this is an important question. The administration acted like this was a huge benefit. That they were going, he served with honor, and he served with distinction, and this was a coup for them. But yet, every every other person that knew Bobo knew the story that they were telling was false. That his platoon members saw the announcement. They said, that's just not true. So the question is, why would they do this? Why would they put those men at risk and similarly the rest of the country at risk by releasing the Gitmo terrorists?
Well, you know, Sean, what they released was essentially the general staff of the Taliban, the intelligence operator, the operations officer, the communications officer, and you know, the political officer of the Taliban that have been released from Gitmo, and that's like giving back the resources. It's very hard to develop that talent within an enemy force. And I just want to say that General Mark Milley, shows great fortitude here in the face of really tremendous pressure. And I think last time that you and I talked about this, I expressed great confidence in Mark Milley that he would make the right decision, and the court-martial decision is the right decision. And it's very simply, you know, going to an Article 32.
With the trade, the right trade.
No, well, obviously not, John. You know, the trade to give away the general staff of the Taliban for someone that, in best case, had deserted and left his post, and now he's also charged with misbehavior before the enemy. It's a bad trade.
All right, Bob, let me go to you. It's interesting. You told me before we came on the air that you were even involved in this, and it had gotten back to you, the circumstances under which Bergdahl left.
Right, we were on the forward operating base in Paktika province called Sharana, and he was sort of on that base on the observation post just outside called Mest. And we were conducting mainly kill capture operations against high-value targets, Al-Qaeda and Taliban, and also vehicle interdictions as well. And when he walked off the base, we were instantly given the intelligence. We just had a deserter. We're going to try to get him back. So we stopped everything that we were doing. The war stopped from the very highest levels of special operations down to conventional forces, and we started hunting him. And I think that my team and I went on, I would say, 20 rescue operations trying to find this guy. We got so close to him that at one point we actually had the ransom money where he was turned over to the Taliban, and then we tried to pursue all the way to the border of Pakistan. We were unsuccessful.
In other words, we were willing to pay
In other words, we pay for it.
No, the ransom from where whomever turned him in sold him to the Taliban. He was captured by locals. You know, he deserted to think they were.
Well, one of the things the platoon mates said, that they actually heard radio transmissions that they picked up, that there were locals saying, hey, there's this American guy walking around seeking out the Taliban.
Something like that. We did get some of those intel reports.
We did hear that.
The Taliban were in disbelief. They said, what do you mean you have an American? Yes, we want him. So then they paid some ransom to the locals who grabbed them, and we did find the ransom. That's how we went to one of the houses. But I mean, we were even risking ourselves. We're not going to fly right up to a dangerous house and be outside knocking on the door. But we were basically doing that at this point, trying to get an American.
See, now that raises the question: should we be willing, if somebody deserts the way he did and seeks out the Taliban? 6 Americans died, many others were injured. Everybody knew the circumstances. The White House didn't want to hear from the guys on the ground what had actually happened. They were frustrated as can be. As you pointed out, the whole operation stopped. So the question is that the right thing to do? Was this handled properly?
I think in the beginning it was simply because we knew he deserted, but there's a chance he didn't. We got to get our guys back.
There's a chance maybe he has PTSD.
Something happened, or he was maybe just on the operating post or observation post where he was. Maybe he got tricked by some of the locals to walk off when they grabbed him. We confirmed later he in fact did walk off. He sent all his stuff home.
Walked off, sent his stuff home, and the locals on radio saying this guy's looking for the Taliban.
Right.
So he sought them out. What should the right thing? What should we do in the future? Because I mean, you're active in the search here, Colonel Waltz. What is the right thing to do if this happens and you know somebody chooses to leave?
Sean, if I could just jump in.
Sure.
We go through survival and resistance training. Both Rob and I, and anyone in the Special Forces community, we know that if we're captured, that our government is not going to negotiate with terrorists. They're not going to offer a ransom, and I'd certainly pray to God that they're not going to offer a trade.
They negotiated with the terrorists, and they gave 5 high-level, Al-Qaeda, Taliban terrorists in exchange for one deserter. That's what we got. That's the deal we got.
And they shouldn't have. And not only that, I want it to be clear that these 5 were the ones that the Taliban chose, not that we chose. So they essentially got their top 5
they got their top 5 guys back.
All right,
real quick, what should the penalty be? Was this the right penalty? Should he get, we have on one charge, desertion, 5 years, misbehavior, life. Should he get life?
No, he shouldn't get life. I think I'm happy with the decision today because they admitted, okay, he deserted. We finally admit that. I'm not a legal expert. I know that this guy definitely realized very soon he made the wrong decision. He was abused.
He's in a cage.
Years and
He's in
years.
a cage.
Yeah. So that needs to be considered. I mean, life in prison or life of hopefully some psychiatric help.
All right, General Tater, what should
Tater,
the penalty be?
Yeah, hey, Sean, I think it's important to point out that this is a trial, and so the burden of proof is on the prosecution. And so just like a civilian trial, things have to be proved beyond a reasonable doubt, which is why it took General Milley so long. He wanted to make sure he had everything nailed down. So as this progresses, there's innocent until proven guilty, and that burden of proof is on the prosecution.
The evidence seems incontrovertible and fairly overwhelming, though. If he's found guilty, what should the penalty be?
Well, Sean, if he's found guilty, from my perspective, I think he should get life, because the men and women who aren't coming home, who died looking for them, or who didn't have the assets they need, they're dead, and they don't get to come home. I think he should get life.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you being with us. Coming up, Ainsley Earhart, rides along.
Thank you very much. And the thing about this is, I'll make this long story short, but here it is. Everybody's read lead post. So because the devastation, because after 10 months with his release, as far as we're concerned, so his May 2014 release has been initially a joyous occasion inside the Rose Garden. So what about and the moral story is the Pentagon proved to conclude that in 2010 that Bergdahl has walked away from his base, but has really stopped short on being accused of this third situation. Well, tried to reopen the probe after his return, and Bergdahl was promoted to sergeant while in captivity to accrued more than to $20,000 in payback was by the time he's freed. Well, let's wait and see about that, as far as we're concerned. So updates come for you. Trust me about that. I'll find out what it is. My final closing time later video commentary thoughts. Maybe tomorrow, whatever. So who knows? Anyways, that's all for now. I gotta go. LH Music. I gotta go. Make sure you Facebook and follow LH Music, Facebook.com and Twitter.com. You know my username, LH Music Time, so it's TimeFactor page on Facebook. Facebook as well. At Facebook.com/ the LH Music TimeFactor. And so is my TimeFactor website, which I'm almost done. Trust me about that. At lhmusictimefactor.jimdo.com. See you tomorrow at Grace University for an all-new final closing TimeFactor video commentary thoughts. And it's all good. And don't forget, TimeFactor Weekend is on. It has returned. Trust me about that. From Daily Motion all the way up to Fox News. I gotta go. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow at Grace University. LH Music is about to sign off. Go Gospel Blessings. I salute you, America. Bye-bye for now. See ya.